What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Tottenham Talk. Matt, I think I know the answer to this question, but how are you doing today?
Bummed out, but I mean, what do you expect?
More? Is that a good answer?
You know what's interesting, Clay, is like the last two times we've been in the finals, Kane's always been hurt prior to it, and we've always started him, and we always seem to.
Well, obviously, guys,
It's
this is going to be a recap episode. Also, kind of just we're moving to more of a weekly episode type of thing. Try and get some more fun episodes in during the middle of the week, as opposed to just match recaps. So this is going to be our big dive deep into all Tottenham news for the week. So obviously the biggest news, another trophyless season for Spurs, another trophyless season for Kane, Hugo, Toby, Son, all those players. I don't know about you, Matt, but I was personally very, very excited and very confident going into this game.
I was hopeful, and we fought the whole game. I mean,
the thing is, I was really disappointed with how we played. I thought, first of all, first and foremost, for anyone who still is criticizing obviously our back line, there's holes in it for goodness sakes, don't get me wrong, but our back line, specifically our center backs, because our outside backs were not great today.
Agreed.
Eric Dyer and Toby Alderweireld, they put in a shift today, Matt. And can we talk about that for a second? Because my goodness, the time and time again, Toby in particular, but Dyer too, and that needs to be said because Dyer is one of the biggest scapegoats of the club. And, he was brought to tears in the interview afterwards. And the heart he showed and the level of composure he showed and confidence and sticking to the game plan of we're going to try and pass it out of the back if we can, there's bits and pieces of it that weren't working. And, I think a lot of that comes with only having, less than 7 days to prepare with the new manager.
I don't know if you saw, and these are just some small points that come popping up in my head right now, but they did putting in a shift. Defensively, I thought they were very, very good. But the distribution out of our back line, I thought was very poor.
Well, I thought it was poor because of what City does. You look at City's system and their high press, they just they suck the air out of all those gaps. They suck
vertical tiki-taka.
But I'm saying defensively, their defensive effort cuts out any opportunities for us to possess through the midfield because our midfielders either aren't being proactive and anticipating what they're going to do, or B, just not moving in the right spots,
You can see like Cancelo pushes as a DM sometimes. I don't know if you catch that, but that's one thing Pep does so well is with Cancelo in particular, Cancelo almost plays as a DM option when they start attacking. And then it's so tough to play out of the middle because it's so compact. And when we played against them in the season when Jose was our manager and we won 2-0 in the counter-attacking, we were able to play wide because that's where the space was. But, it's very interesting because, like you said, they're high press. I mean, how many times did we lose it in our own half? And they constantly were just battering us.
But the thing is like, it's hard to say, okay, are the reason we're losing the ball in our own half because of our own unforced errors, or is it because they're playing so well they're forcing that error? Like Aurier seemed like so many times he tried to dribble out of the back and lost it.
Mm-hmm.
Why not just hit it over the top and try to reset and then press them into their own defensive third and try and win it back that way? You know what I mean?
I think a lot of it then, if it comes to that, if that pressure is so high on our back line, then our midfield has to put in a double, like we got to put in a lot more work than what we did today because they're the key to getting out of that, to working out of that pressure. Give me the ball to my feet, I play back to Dyer. Dyer can switch it, over to Reggie, and it's simple soccer. I mean, it's simple progressive play out of the back.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, it's tough. It's not okay. I say it's simple, but it's hard. Don't get me wrong, it's tough.
It's simple concepts,
Yes, I mean, play the way your face, all that stuff. The things that we've learned when we were kids when we played. But I felt like so many times it could honestly be just how the system was set up, and nothing against Ryan Mason. I mean, I'm not gonna do anything against him. There's no reason to. But if we're gonna be having to play out of that pressure the whole game, and we were very lucky to not concede more than one goal today. we have to be able to have midfielders to put in the extra work and be able to play and help our back play out of the back. It sounds like when I say this, like, if Aurier has the ball and he's kind of pushed up a bit. If Aurier has the ball and he can't play it back to maybe Toby or Dyer, well, why doesn't like maybe Højbjerg or I guess we played like a 4-3-3. We started out maybe, but why doesn't Højbjerg play wall pass, boom, get him out, just try to get some space? But I felt like it was too many times, like you said, Aurier was the ball's on his foot too many times. He tried to make the the perfect pass, and it got to a point where it cost us.
Well, first and foremost, with the issue that started us off in the kind of negative press, negative kind of having to conform our style of play to them. It wasn't, first of all, when I say that, I mean, it wasn't the bravery that I think, we were talking about Tottenham playing with, and that Ryan Mason was hoping we play with, I believe, they worked their butts off to try and, win this game, everything they could. I don't think a player would not leave it all out there. But that being said, we came out of the gates from the start super timid, super shy, super scared. We had a lot to lose, which we did, because let's be honest, City, they don't really care. That right now they're focused on PSG midweek. I'm going to be honest. You could even see it in Pep almost. He's into this game, but really he's probably really thinking, I don't want my players to get injured right now. I got to manage fitness, because the real game is this midweek, right? They've won the Carabao Cup more times than they can count, right? My point is, though, when something like this happens, you can't afford to just sit back and be shy and timid, and that's what happened in the Champions League final too. It's like there's multiple examples. I'll give you a couple. One that stuck out to me is Sonny, right? What is the one thing that you say Sonny always does when he gets the ball?
He looks to score.
Yes, he looks to score and beat his defender. That is his first, instinct. And today, that was not there, because we got the ball so rarely in their half and in our attacking third, where we could have an opportunity to score. It was almost like, oh my gosh, we can't lose it. If we lose it, we're gonna have to defend again, and we barely get these opportunities, type of thing. And instead of Son just doing his thing and trying to beat Kyle Walker or attack his man, he would be timid, take a touch, look, and then try, back pass to Reggie or something. And I'm not trying to, downfall or criticize Son at all. It's tough to play in this situation, but did you notice that at all? That Son,
you broke up there, you froze, but I think the moral of what you're saying is like just what Son does at his strength is attack that back line, beat the defender, and shoot, was just not him today.
Yeah, and
I think also too, because I think it was because that he was defended well.
I think he was defended well, but he didn't really make them defend that hard. That
a lot of the time his back was to goal. I felt like,
yeah,
one of the over top balls trying to get him, and then Walker pressed on him a lot, and then when we were going the first half, when we were going the other way, the ball was we were trying to play the ball over the top a lot. I felt like, because I felt like that was like the easier option.
Well, it seemed like that was the only thing that we could do. You could see it on Toby and Dyer's face. They're like,
they put the ball at the top.
Where to go? They're like, we don't have anywhere to go. We just have to hoof it long. And that's not what we were trying to do. It's in their defense, they kept the ball, trying to find the right pass, and they tried it a couple times, didn't always work. And honestly, if we keep playing like that and training, we have a full week to train before a game, not just a day. When you get into it, the season, it's really hard to practice and train on new techniques or new styles of play, because it's a game, then recovery, and then training, light training, because you have another game in a day or 2 days, And now, if we can kind of take every week, train all week, practice this, we play out of the back, we play building football, we play pretty football, we play brave football, Tottenham Hotspur football, then I think we do a lot better. If we have a whole other week to train, I think we maybe even do better than we did today against City. But that timidness was really tough today, and you could even see, I think Ryan Mason was trying to change that when he put Bale on. Son turned up and changed. He was on the right side then. Did you notice that?
Did you see the minute he put Bale on?
60th,
64th. So he gave him what? 26 minutes.
Yeah.
26 minutes to get into it.
That's a good amount of time.
It's a decent amount of time. Well, my point is, like, I felt like it was too consistent with Jose how he's put on too late.
Well, to be fair, I don't think Ryan made the right subs today. Musa Sissoko, no offense to him, that was not.
I don't know why he put Sissoko on either.
I'm not necessarily opposed to Bale. I think Bale's one of those guys. He's got to start, you know.
Yeah,
And
I was kind of disappointed he didn't start.
Lucas looked dead from the beginning, in my opinion. He kind of just looked a little out of it, you know. Every once in a while, he had those runs, and you know, then you talk about the Laporte issue with should he have been sent off? I don't know. I loved Ryan Mason's comment on that. He's like, why are we talking about, you know, this guy getting sent off? He shouldn't have been on. If he makes that first, if he gets a yellow for that first tackle, he's not going to make that second, you know.
Yeah,
It's
such a minor. That's such a minor issue. When
it's so petty to talk about that.
Yeah, the whole game. Yeah, that one thing, you know, that's what I love about Ryan Mason right now is just like his demeanor, his attitude.
He's very, very transparent, you know.
Yeah, very in front of the camera. He's phenomenal to listen to, and what he talks about and how he describes what happens, I think is probably the best way to do it, especially the state the club's in right now.
Yeah.
But no, I think you do make a good point. If Bale was going to play, he needed to start. And then why Sissoko came on. I mean, Sissoko let up that goal. Terrible defending. I mean,
Aurier's fouled him.
I know Aurier fouled him, but you got to do. You can let up fouls, but
yeah, you know, you're right. The defending coming up to it. I get you mean.
You're gonna this is another thing too. Is as a Tottenham player, you know Aurier is gonna probably make more than a couple fouls in the game. I'm serious though. You know he's allowed. I'm totally serious here. Yeah. And you know, as a captain on a team, you have to be able to be disciplined about it and be like, you can't sacrifice that. You can't do that. But now we got to defend. Okay, yeah. It happened. He called it. We have to defend now. And Sissoko too, you know, he got put on for the work rate, the strength, and I mean, shit defending. Sorry for my language, but I mean, rewatch it and Laporte he has an open header inside the 6 and just takes Sissoko right off his feet. And Sissoko wonders why he can't win that.
Well, you know, it's part of me is like, you know, being a defender, being a ball winner in the box, you know, one of my greatest attributes is I'm tall. I can win the headers, you know. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, I think winning a header defensively or offensively is 80 to 85% grit and wanting it.
Okay.
Just wanting it. How tall is Lucas Moura? What, like 5'8", 5'10", maybe?
Yeah, he's not too big.
He's not tall. He wins a lot of headers. You know why? He wants it. He wants the ball. Sissoko had no sense of wanting that right there. And you could even see Dyer, you know, who gets criticized a lot for his a lack of ability to win balls out of the air. He looks behind him and he's pointing at Sissoko to mark Laporte, who's coming in. And he doesn't, because Sissoko is trying to mark someone else up they're all already marked up, you know, and it's such
Sissoko was just playing like a zone. He was not marking anybody. And
then he turns around and it was too late at that point. But even then, put something into him. Contest it, you know? There was a thing right after, and I get so fired up about this because this is what I do, you know? And there's a thing after where Eric Dyer went up with Laporte again for another header, and Laporte, the header went, you know, wayward. But he contested him. And therefore he was not able to win to get a clear header on goal, you know? And even if you just jump, you literally just jump and you're at that same level for him, you don't have to necessarily win the ball all the time. You just have to put some pressure on him, put a body on him, and, you know, contest that ball. But if you let him jump, anyone who jumps, they're gonna win the header. And Sissoko's on his feet.
Absolutely.
You know? And it's unacceptable, man. And I don't know how many times, whether it's Jose, Pochettino, this probably dates all the way back to Tim Sherwood and Andre Villas-Boas, but we gotta get our, you know, maybe not that far back, obviously, but we gotta get our you know, defensive set pieces under control, because there's a lack of wanting it right now, you know. And I thought we were pretty organized, you know. I thought Dyer and Toby did a great job today, all around. I'd give them 10 out of 10s, both, for the way they were marking people up, you know, we talk about when you lose it, when you concede a set piece, you first things first, you don't walk back. You sprint back. You get into position. You mark your people up. If you're a center back, you mark everyone up. You make sure every man is marked, right? Depending on what style. If you're free, that's fine. But you mark everyone up, and then you look to ball. And you got to do that instantly, right? You got to do that instantly. And I thought they did a good job. And you could even see Dyer pointing at him, yelling at him. But Sissoko just wasn't paying attention. And I don't know if that's because he got subbed on. He wasn't in the play yet, but he's been on for 15, 20 minutes. I don't know.
I was going to say that, and you probably would agree with this, as you're a defender, and heck, being a forward, I love going up for those headers because it's always a possibility that I could score.
Yeah,
I would say that winning a defensive header is just as important as a goal line save.
I agree. Yeah,
because if you think about it,
especially in the context of Spurs, because of how many we give up.
Yes, exactly. You have to treat it like that because
yes,
at that level of play, you have, heck, I don't know how many guys are in the box, but you got every City player doing their best to win this header, and it sucks too because they kind of have advantage over Spurs, especially in this situation, and just being a general, player and having to defend sometimes on corners, it's just as important to win a defensive header as it would be a goal line save.
Not wrong.
And it's tough to implement that in your players because yes, you can just say that and it might not really, mean too much until it happens.
Yeah.
And today was an example of what can happen when you don't defend headers. But it's tough.
What does that come down to? Because, go ahead. Sorry.
No, well, it goes down to, like you said, the grit, the ambition. You want it. If you want to win the header, you're showing the passion of, you want to win this game.
Yeah, totally agree. What it comes down to, in my opinion, is that it was Manchester City. It was a cup final, and they were not about to lose that. They were not about to lose that, no matter what they could do. They were not about to lose that. And I'm not trying to bash. Huh?
Was Kane in the box defending?
I'm sure he was. Laporte was not really the man they wanted.
What?
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, you know how many times Kane wins headers? Yeah. And it's unfortunate because our number one defensive header person or player should be a center back.
And I'm not trying to bash
Or you know what? That might be a false statement because there's a lot of teams out there that have people who can win headers better than others, and they're not center backs. But my point being is, why is our forward always the one winning the defensive headers?
I wouldn't even put it at that. It's more of because you want everyone on your team because Harry's good in the air. He's going to have to put in the work defensively, right? That's going to be part of his role when you have a defensive set piece. So I'm not even going to cut that out of his job description. But what I'm going to say is, why is no one else stepping up to the plate? Why? It's a cup final. Moussa Sissoko has been in that before with Spurs, and the feeling when you lose. When you lose a game like that, obviously I've never been in a cup final, but if you lose a game that means a lot, whether it's whatever it is at any level, your manager, if I was Ryan Mason, maybe not today, it's hard with Ryan Mason, but what managers will say, they'll say, remember this feeling so that you never, ever feel this again. What it feels like to lose that. We have felt that. And we have seen that as a downward slope of the club from 2019 in Madrid. And this was our chance at redemption. And unfortunately, that one moment you click off, and it was Sissoko and Aurier. I think Aurier is just as much to blame here because was it Fernandinho who got fouled?
Sterling.
Sterling. Okay.
Sorry, you're frozen on my screen.
No. Yeah, there's a connection error. Am I good now? Hello?
Yeah, you're good now.
Okay, all right. Sterling had his back turned to Aurier, right? Not in any immediate threat, right? Not in any immediate threat, yet he tries to force the ball and win the ball and fouls him right on the edge of the box. That is kindergarten stuff, man, you got to be able to, it's unacceptable. Am I cutting out still?
You're still cutting out. It's getting a little better.
Blanket statement is another foul by Aurier that was useless, unnecessary. Sterling was not even facing the goal. He was backing away, moving away from the goal again. Just turn him there. Just hold him there. Don't let him turn. Get some help and wait for the right time to tackle. Don't foul. Whatever you do, don't foul at all costs.
Especially that deep when he doesn't even have a chance to score. Like, let him play back. Like, there's no reason to foul there at all. Majority of the places that Aurier fouls, there's still no reason. He just likes to dive. He dives in recklessly, I think, a lot when he loses it. And I feel like a lot of it's just clumsiness. And like we said, he's a liability.
Yep.
And it's unfortunate because I feel like the game obviously would have been totally different if that foul never occurred. I'm not saying we would have got scored on, but we maybe had more of a chance. I mean, we held him for 82 minutes at 0-0, and Spurs fans had hope. We had hope to winning the cup in the 81st minute still against City, who everyone thought was going to destroy us. I mean, they did have 20 shots compared to our 2, but
only like 4 on goal.
Yeah. They didn't score.
And a lot of that is because
they win that game with 3 shots at the end of the day. And City fans saying, "Oh, you didn't deserve it. You didn't deserve it." I would have been like, you know what? I'm sorry, but we won.
Yeah.
You know, and it's so easy. You know, the if is such a big word. And it's tough because we always give these post match analysis, or I guess our thoughts, what we think. And I don't know really why. Like, is it that big of a stretch to play Jaffet instead of Aurier?
I don't think so. You know, it's really tough because we've talked about this before. Aurier's had a better season than he has had in the past, right? Matt Doherty is injured currently. Tanganga is a risk, I'd say, only because he's a youth. You don't really know what you're going to get out of him. It could be an incredible performance, or it could be a really, really bad performance. And I don't know. Maybe you stick with him and go for it. That's what I would do, probably. I just stick with him.
I would love to see the data, the statistics behind how many games we played when Aurier has played, how many fouls Aurier concedes in those games, and how many times you concede off Aurier's fouls. I guarantee you it's a lot higher than most think.
Yeah, I'd be interested as well.
I mean, I'm sure it's not like 50%, but I could definitely see it being high 20s, low 30s. And that's way too high for a right back.
Heck, if you do that more than 3 times a season, that's too much.
And that's what we mean by liability. I mean, it's not.
It's one thing to give up a foul. You know, you're going to give up fouls. You want to be aggressive, and that's fine.
But it's different when Dyer gives up a foul than Aurier gives up a foul.
Yeah.
You know, it's different than. I mean, yes, I get like, okay, Aurier's tracking down, fast Sterling, but the situations where he is fouling, there's no excuse why he should foul there. Zero excuse. Zero. You remember the penalty that he gave Sergio?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, he's going for the ball, but Sergio doesn't have a chance to score. Push him out wide. He's not going to do anything. He's going to give it back. To me, it's, and I might not have the knowledge or, being, a 21-year-old kid, I might not have the, background and credible sources to say this, but it's honestly almost simple defending. Push him one way. Take away half the field.
It's hard to say that it's not, right? Because the game's the game no matter how old you are, right? I mean, obviously.
I don't – go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Obviously we're not in their shoes. We're not trying to say we know anything, better than anyone else.
Better than them, yeah.
You got to think about it, right? It's consistently happening. And the only reason that I think Aurier has not lost his spot is because we don't really have a true replacement.
Retweet, yeah. Retweet.
And in all honesty,
retweet. And
this is what I'm going to ask you a question here. And this is an intense question, I think. Loaded question. Because Højbjerg has been a crucial part to our season this year, right?
Yeah.
But if he's a crucial part to our season this year, what does our season even come out to? No trophies and maybe not even Europe. So why do we get rid of Kyle Walker-Peters, who turned out to be a really, really bright young outside back?
Well, I think the hopes at first were expecting Spurs to finish in a top 4 position with the signs we got. And I'm sure that at
number
the
one,
first
you
signing,
expected Matt Doherty to maybe show up a bit more.
right? But no, you make a really good point.
You think that's a mistake?
I think we valued the DM at the time. I think Jose and Daniel Levy valued the DM of Højbjerg a lot more than a young right back, especially because cost was going to go a lot down. Oh, well, I guess, a lot cheaper for Højbjerg. And Kyle Walker-Peters wasn't going to necessarily be played under Jose. Yes, under Poch, he would have, but that's different because Poch likes young guys.
So I'm thinking it was Jose who gave Japhet Tanganga his first start.
I know that's true too, but I'm curious to know if they basically valued their. Well, I think actually going into it, if they're going to give up Kyle Walker-Peters, I think they probably had in their head that they're going to try to get Doherty anyways. So I think at the time when they sold Kyle Walker-Peters, they're like, that's fine. We have Aurier now, and we're going to go get arguably the best right wing back according to his stats. For 12 million, and that didn't work out to where we planned.
Well, here's my point: is I would say offload Aurier because the liability he has. Josie knew it, Levy knows it if he's got anything in his head right now. And looking back on it, here's my question: looking back on it, do you think it was worth it to get rid of him?
It's tough because I haven't really watched much of Southampton and him because Southampton's actually trash.
That's not true, though.
I mean, they haven't won a game in the last 12 matches.
They're obviously in a bad run of form, but he's had a great season.
I don't know. It's hard for me.
My point. My point is not even how he's played at Southampton. My point is, we don't have any options, and it's like a dire need. We are in dire need of a.
It could have been a risk.
Right back.
It's hard to see, Clay. I don't know if I can answer that. It's hard to determine that because I see what position Jose and Daniel Levy were at the time, and I completely agree with what they were going to do. I mean, that's the best way to look at it. Sometimes is the data, the stats. And looking at Doherty, you're like, okay, yeah, he can maybe produce, but obviously that's not what we saw. It's unfortunate though. I think that Kyle Walker-Peters did end up going because I think that he could have been something good. But you also have the likes of potentially getting him back in the future, and yeah. I mean he's still so young, and it's interesting too because if Pochettino was still in place in his position, if Pochettino was in the position Jose was at the beginning of the season, I think he would have kept him, of course, and I think a lot of it comes down to what Jose wanted and the funds he needed. And if he could have, sold someone that maybe was a third string right back, fourth string, I don't know, third string right back to, take 10 million off of, Højbjerg's price, then I think, I mean, you can't look at it and be like, oh, that was a mistake. Because I think he's done a lot. I think he's proved to show that he can be a good midfielder compared to somebody else.
Yeah.
It's I think a lot of it's too unlucky that Doherty ended up to being kind of how he is. And, the fact that we still are stuck with Aurier. Yeah. But personally, I loved Kyle Walker-Peters. I thought he was a great young player and could be, had the potential of becoming something really good. I still remember the time he got burned by Ousmane Dembele against Barcelona. That's just so funny to me. But, he had a lot of time to grow. And, I mean, you can't – and it's interesting, too, because say we did keep him. Well, then we might not know who Japhet is, So maybe replace the scenario with we kept him, never got Højbjerg, and see where he was.
Yes, I definitely think it was worth it to get Højbjerg, but in my opinion, I think they should have just shelled out an extra 4 or 5 mil for Højbjerg and kept Kyle Walker-Peters.
Yeah, I mean,
even an extra 10 because I don't know. I just feel like,
an extra 10 when we were looking for Skriniar. Why not give the extra 5?
well, that's my point. We we wouldn't get the extra 5, but we spent 10 on Roden.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it comes down to the higher authority in the club for that, but like, it's definitely some good questions that we're raising for the audience, but and for us too that we can't answer. So
this brings me to the next point, all right? And that is, I think this is the next part of the episode. I think, you're ready to talk about it. Upper management, in terms of Levy and the ENIC, the board, they've made some interesting choices in the past week. We've talked about the Super League. We don't need to open that door again. Obviously, that door deserves to be shut.
We're out. Move on.
Yep. And but there's a much more interesting turn of events that took place 7 days ago tomorrow. 7 days ago Monday morning, which is the stacking of Jose. Right? Now we have Ryan Mason at the helm for now. I'm a big Ryan Mason fan. I don't think we should, obviously there's a lot of questions going around on Twitter and in the Spurs fan universe right now this past week of, if Ryan Mason gets us top 4 and we win the League Cup, do we hire him full time? Well, one of those is out the window. So I think the answer is no, we don't hire him full time after the end of the season. And I think that's fair, because I think it's a little bit unfair to him to put all this pressure on him, out of nowhere. 29 years old, let him develop a little bit. He could be, he could have the potential to be a really, really great young manager. But let's talk managers, Matt. Got your short list up, I know. Let's talk about those 5.
All right.
It was Nagelsmann, Eric Ten Hag, Graham Potter,
Brendan Rodgers,
and then Allegri, right?
Massimiliano.
Yeah, it's a French, I think, isn't he? Or Italian. He's Italian.
But at the very bottom of my article here, it says Spurs want a manager that plays progressive, attack-minded, and possession-based football, essentially the opposite of former Jose Mourinho.
Right, and that is,
and that's what we want. That's what we want. That's fine. But I mean, with those 5 managers, I mean, heck, I don't want to be mad, honestly, with any of them. Obviously, I would.
You think Levy sent Pochettino a text saying, "Hey, you up?"
He said that?
No, I'm saying it's a joke.
Oh.
Like.
Oh! I thought you said he sent him a text and said, "No, you want to do the job."
No, I was saying, you think, like, when someone breaks up with someone, they want to back to like, "You up?" ? I thought Levy's texting him right now saying, "Hey, you up?"
Man, it would be idiotic for Pochettino to leave. But he's gone now. We're talking about something new here. You know what? It's so tough. I think everybody wants Nagelsmann. I think he's the next greatest manager, to be honest. But it's going to be hard to compete him for Bayern, because I know Bayern's open talks with him already. And with, Hansi Flick already confirming that he's retiring at the end of the season and being Germany's manager, obviously opens the door for the next Bayern manager and whom that may be. And see, this is the way I look at it. You remember when Juventus sacked Sarri? And the likes of Pochettino was up there, who was favored.
Yeah.
Inzaghi was one. I'm missing one more. And then Pirlo was the underdog. And Pirlo was the one that they hired. And I think most people were shocked at that, because I was shocked that they didn't get Pochettino. And that's also because I don't know if Pochettino wanted to go there. But point is, they chose the underdog, which was Pirlo. No, I did not think twice that they were going to actually choose Pirlo. So now, you look back, at the 5 managers that we listed, and, if I was Daniel Levy in the situation Tottenham's in now, I think Nagelsmann could really make a name for himself at this club. Yes, he could take the route of just going to Bayern and, staying in Germany. But I would not be surprised if he wanted a different challenge and went to the Premier League, because the Premier League, I think, is the hardest league in the world.
Right.
And it's the most competitive. And you've got the best. You got arguably the best manager in the world that's in the Premier League, and that's Pep. Second, honestly, was almost probably Jose at the time. And, you wonder what Julian's thinking because, I mean, you don't know. And heck, it might not be about money. I hope it's not. But at the end of the day, I mean, he's still going to get paid fine.
Yeah.
So if I was Daniel Levy, I would match, or I guess you wouldn't know. That's probably undisclosed. But I would offer Julian probably whatever he asked, and tell him, you're going to rebuild this club, so this is where you can make a name for yourself. I think every Spurs fan would be in favor of that.
Yeah, it seems like
it's
it.
going to be very hard to land it. I say that, but honestly, it could happen. It could happen. And that's one thing that I really enjoy about the position we're in is because, we might not even get these 5 guys on the short list or not any of them. I saw that the athletic manager was someone that Daniel Levy was looking at. They actually won today against Barcelona. Not Barcelona, Atletico Madrid. But he stated that he doesn't want to leave, which is fine. I don't really know much about him. But it's interesting to see just who Daniel Levy's looking at. And I was curious, Clay, if you thought, do you think Daniel Levy really understands the game of soccer? Like, he understands soccer, don't get me wrong, but like, you look at the interviews and stuff that he talks about in the All or Nothing episodes on Amazon Prime, and part of me thinks just what goes through his head when signing a manager. Obviously he's going to look at the statistics and how well the managers performed, but like, he chose Jose because Jose wins trophies. He kind of just disregarded the fact. That's kind of ironic. He kind of just disregarded the fact, though, of what what Spurs football was about and how Pochettino changed that.
Well, that's where I want to stop you. And I think it's important you brought up Levy because he's not liked at the club, in the fan base, anything. The Spurs Supporters Trust decided that they think they took a vote and that he should resign, actually. Because I'm not sure if you saw the Man United whatever, I guess.
Woodward?
Chairman, yeah, Woodward, he resigned.
Ed?
Yeah. And there's a lot of protests, there's a petition going around. I tried to sign it, but you have to live in the UK, so there's a lot of stuff going around for him to resign and Enoch to resign. And I think a lot of it is because they don't know that no one's confident in his ability to make the right decisions for the future of the club. And you look at it in particular moments, like you said, does he really understand what it means to be a part of Tottenham Hotspur? We started the Why Tottenham series, right? Because it means so much to us. This club means so much to us, right? I mean, you see it on the wall. You see it. We did this whole we made an entire podcast, dedicate hours of our week to this club, and trying to spread their name and create this positive image for them overseas and grow them and everything like that, right? Everything we're trying to do with this podcast because we love them so much, right? And we know what it means to be a part of Tottenham Hotspur, be a fan, be a supporter. And I don't think Levy knows that. I don't think he gets it because, number one, if he did, he probably wouldn't have said yes to the Super League because that was clearly, like, you got to understand that fans are probably not going to want that. You at least are going to hold off until see how the rest of it goes. You know what I mean? That was a bold move by him. And you look at it again with Jose, and that's a very bold signing because, on paper it might make sense, but you look at Pochettino, what he did with this club, what it means to be a manager at Tottenham Hotspur, what it means to be a player there, to be a fan of the club. And I don't think Levy knows. I don't think he gets it. I think a lot of it could even be the absence of the fans in this, last COVID year, you might say. I think you kind of lose track of what it means to be Tottenham Hotspur, what it means to be a fan, to support this club, to play for this club, to work for this club, But you could see it in the documentary, from the chefs to the doormen to the players. It means a lot to be involved with this special club, and I worry Daniel Levy doesn't really understand that. So this next signing of our manager, it's got to be the right one. We can't. I don't think the club will be able to sustain another flop season like this past season has been. What do you think? That's a lot. I know.
No. I think you're absolutely right. I think this is the moment you invest. Sorry, our connection's been poor today.
Yeah, no, you're good.
I was going to say that I think this is the moment Tottenham is probably one of the lowest points it's been in a while. We have set a name for ourselves of what we can be. With when Pochettino was in, our manager.
Let me hold on to that thought. Let me ask you a question after this.
And we finished in I guess Champions League or European qualification the last 10 years. Being in the Premier League, which is a very big accomplished goal for a club that was not, the biggest or really big that much, really wasn't that big. So being Tottenham with arguably the best stadium right now in the world, has plenty of deals otherwise with the NFL, bunch of different.
I want to say something about the stadium real quick because before I forget, I was on Premier League Fan Zone last week again. I forgot to tell you, and I was previewing the Carabao Cup match for them, and I can't remember his name, but one of the guys that was one of the hosts of the show, he was my Zoom background was Tottenham Hotspur new stadium, and he's like, that's the best stadium in the league. That's the first thing he said. He's a City fan. He's like, that's the best stadium in the league. I was like, I agree. And, we chatted a little bit about the game, but to your point, we have the best stadium in the league, and take that for a second. Think about that. Like, we have the best stadium in the league at least. Now, continue with your thought.
And that's not something that is going to be, easier for a club to just build a new stadium. So, yes, this costs a lot. I get that. Money's an issue right now. Well, it seems like money's an issue with Tottenham right now and previous years. But I know we have money to sign a manager. And I think this is the moment you put – I don't know how much it's going to cost. I'm going to say Julian because that's who I want. If Julian wants, he's not going to get any more than 20 million because Pep gets around 20 million from City.
He's not going to get anywhere close to Jose, in my opinion.
No, but – invest the 15 to 17 million for a manager like that potential, 5-year contract with him. And that boosts the morale of the club. It doesn't just give hope for the fans. And it doesn't just say, okay, we have arguably one of the best managers now coming, or, I guess prospects as a manager, but it impacts so many pieces to the club indirectly. And, you got then players wanting to play for this guy and, have hope because of what he's accomplished at RB Leipzig. I don't know if people know this, but RB Leipzig is a very, very small club. Very small club. They have no money.
Well, hold up. They do. And the only reason is because they're owned by Red Bull, the sports drink, but they're not a club that is like historically prominent or anything like that. They were only formed, I want to say 2007.
Okay, compare them to then Tottenham is what I mean.
Right. Yeah, they don't have
no comparison.
Yeah.
And so, heck, I don't want to be. I want this to sound biased because I'm a Tottenham fan, but if I was in Julian's shoes and I looked at it, yes, Bayern is a big club, and coaching Bayern would be a major accomplishment for this guy. But he could really make a name for himself, with a club that can be very, very good. Like, put it this way. He goes to Bayern. He wins at Bayern. Congrats. I feel like it's an expectation for him to go to Bayern and win at Bayern. Win many trophies, so on and so forth. Imagine if he goes to Tottenham, puts Tottenham, second, wins Premier League once, puts him in the Champions League and, potentially wins it. I feel like that is just such a better accomplishment than going to a already high value club and continue winning it. I feel like you could do. I feel like Bayern could go find another manager and he'd be able to do the same thing because it's Bayern.
Yeah.
You get where I'm going with that?
No, yeah, no, and it depends on the type of manager he is, right? And it means a lot. And if he says no to Tottenham, then that's okay because then I wouldn't have wanted him if he didn't want to do that, you know. We got to find the Pochettino, right? The guy who wants the challenge of having to pick this team out of the ashes, and that's so dramatic, but in a way it feels like that, you know, pick this team out of the rubble, build them back up with your own style, this long-term plan, a commitment with Levy. I think Levy, when he signs this guy, he's got to commit to him that says, you know what, if you don't have a good year, that's okay, because we are rebuilding something for the long term, for this something sustainable, right? And that's why I think it didn't work out with Jose. You know, he was a short-term fix, we are going to win a trophy within the next year, and we didn't type of thing. But you're right. If Julian wants to that challenge, you know, I'll be open to any manager who is openly confident and accepting of that challenge to pick a team up, rebuild them in the way that they see fit, and, you know, make their mark. You know, they want to make their mark.
That's why I also think Erik ten Hag can do it too. Ajax.
I kind of agree. The more you talk about him, the more I think about him, and
look where he took Ajax.
I mean, Ajax has always been a massive club, especially in the Eredivisie. But like,
I know, but like, look where he took Ajax.
In the Champions League, you're right.
In the Champions League, yeah, and like, I mean, like, he's been very successful in the Dutch league, of course, in the Eredivisie. But
heck, it's what Pep did with City.
What?
The way he's brought them up to this level of superstars.
Yeah.
They were not really like that before.
Yeah.
And the oil money, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting because obviously we don't, you know, we're powerless, honestly, either way.
Yeah.
And it's so fun to talk about though because, you know, we bring up some really good points, and
I think so.
So many people are thinking what we're thinking. You know, what Daniel Levy's, why is he, you know, sacrificing, you know, $5 extra million to get this guy when why not just spend the extra $5 million? I'm sure we got it somewhere, and, you know, get person A instead. And I honestly keeps thinking that he's taking the easy way out. He's taking the easy way out. But I don't know if he's the common denominator in our issues right now at Tottenham. It seems like a lot of the problems that come about, he's involved. So that's another thing that, you know, is up in the air right now. But I think a lot of Daniel Levy and his reputation is going to depend on who he signs as manager in the next month.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting because, you know, it sucks a little bit. You know, I'm so excited for the Euros, don't get me wrong, but it does suck a little bit. Whoever new manager that we get won't really be able to get a full summer with them, you know? We'll have so many of our guys.
No, but you know, I don't know if it would be that big of a downside though, because how long are the Euros?
All summer. It'll be all summer.
So was that 3 months?
2.5, 3 months, yeah.
Okay, so I mean, maybe it's a bit of a downside, but I mean, like,
my only thing that it is a downside for me, and it's a struggle. It's a little more obstacle in that challenge, but you know, you embrace that. If you're a manager, you embrace that. And Ryan Mason has showed prominence of embracing those challenges type of thing. Not ready. I don't think we need to put that on him any means. But my point is, if you're trying to rebuild a culture, you need every minute of every day, especially this summer, just bonding as a team, getting that type of brotherhood, that type of, you know, I know I'm going to lay my body on the line for you. You're going to do the same on the pitch, off the pitch type of thing. You got to get that back because I feel like we've lost some of that. I feel like we've lost some of that grit. You know, I look at pictures from when we won the matches going into the Champions League semifinal and final, and the team togetherness, you know, the grit, the passion, the sense of trust they have in each other, the sense of faith they have in each other. And it's incredible, you know, and you got to have that. And I think Julian's going to have, assuming we sign Julian, he's going to have a struggle to try and get that culture back, right? Because you have people who are not confident. You have people who think I need to be playing over him. You have people who think, am I ever going to play here again? You have people who think, should I leave? Do I need to be here? Can I really reach my best here? I'm running out of my best years, i.e. Kane, Son, Hugo, key players that they could run into a lot of issues here. And I don't know, man. It's tough. But
I'm reading right here. This is interesting. I'm reading this right here. And Pochettino makes $550,000 a month. 50,000 more a month than Tuchel. And bonuses also are included if he wins stuff. And right now he might be on the track to that.
Well, he's already won one trophy.
Oh yeah, the Super Cup. Yeah, a bonus is according to titles as the French Super Club that he already won. Carlo Ancelotti.
Yeah.
And Tuchel both received $500,000 a month. They both got the same price or the same salary.
Right now at Everton and Chelsea?
No. When Ancelotti and Tuchel were both at PSG.
Gotcha. Okay.
Ancelotti was when he got $500,000.
I always forget how he's been everywhere.
And he's been everywhere. Yeah, he's been at like a lot of places like Jose has. But then you got Tuchel in there who same price, $500,000 a month, which is a crap ton of money. And now Pochettino gets $550,000 a month. I'm curious to know how much.
It's like $6.6 million a year.
$6.6 million a year? Really? Okay, so this is interesting. And I don't know if these are totally accurate. So Hansi Flick made $312,000 as a weekly wage. $15 million a year. Julian Nagelsmann right now makes $4.5 million a year.
I guarantee we probably bumped it up to at least 8.
Oh, yeah, his salary would be.
But in all honesty, if I'm Levy, part of this game, right, is you got to earn it, right? And I don't think Nagelsmann will have an issue with that. You're making $4 million a year. You don't really. I can't imagine you really care that much about making that much more, especially if you're a manager. So maybe 2 years, depending on how you do, you get a raise. There's option for a raise, stuff like that. But Levy's got to do all he can to get Nagelsmann here. If he's up for the challenge, he's got to do it, right? Got to pull the trigger.
I mean, do you think I don't think it's crazy to say, like, if Hansi Flick was getting $15 million from Bayern Munich a year, I'm sure that Nagelsmann would probably get the same, or roughly.
I don't know. He's not like, you got to remember, he's not Hansi Flick, or he's not these guys.
I get that, but I mean, his reputation is that high.
He's so young still. There's a high ceiling for him, but I think he would start off at much lower. But much lower could be like 12 mil, or 10 mil.
If I was Tottenham, I'd match it.
I don't know if they would. I mean, we paid what, Jose, 19, I think.
Jose was second highest. He was up there. Yeah, he was up there.
He was 19. We would not go anywhere close. Levy would not go anywhere close to that with our next manager. And I don't blame him.
What I'm saying though is that I think he's going to need to, if he wants to invest in the club. If he wants to make the best decision for the club to become, what we can do, he's going to have to put money into a manager.
If that manager demands it. I can't imagine Nagelsmann will demand that much.
No, but what I'm saying is, like, if it comes down to a money problem, why is, and Bayern offers, say, 12 mil and we offer 8, I'm sure he'd probably take the 12.
But my point is,
especially if he's in Germany.
I don't think a guy like Nagelsmann, it'll come down to the money. It'll come down to what kind of manager he wants to be. If he wants to be a manager,
that is a very high possibility, which I like.
Which I'd rather.
I'm looking at the weekly wages for Premier League. Okay, so we paid. So Jurgen Klopp and Mourinho both got $15 million a year.
Okay.
$313,000 a week.
Wow, that's a lot. We played in so much money.
Pep makes $417,000 a week, $20 million a year. Brendan Rodgers, 5 million. Lowest is Chris Wilder, but that's because he's Sheffield. Graham Potter makes a mil. Interesting. So interesting. Scott Parker makes a lot for Fulham. Scott Parker makes 3.5 million. But the main thing that Ancelotti makes 11.
We get it. They make a lot of money.
Sorry. I'm sorry, guys. This is too interesting to me. But like, God, that's so much money for a manager.
Okay, come on. What's your point? What's your point?
No, I don't have necessarily a point here. This overall, I guess, theme to me is just if Bayern's going to offer, 12 to 15 million dollars for Nagelsmann, which I would not be shocked with, really. I mean, yes, he's making 4.5, but I mean, he's going to coach Bayern. Don't get me wrong. You make a good point. He might start at a base salary of like 7.5 or 8.5, and then if he does well, he might get bumped, which is probably very common. But I don't see why Tottenham would not be in that fight.
I agree.
And if he's got to move all the way over to England, which obviously he would, if you got to give him an extra $1 million to get him over here, I'd sacrifice that. And at the end of the day, this I hope this doesn't sound greedy because I don't think it is. But yes, maybe 15 million is a lot for a manager, but you're telling me right now we can't cost 15 million up?
Yeah, I mean we've done it the last year for Jose.
I mean, we paid Jose 15 million.
I just can't imagine justifying that, to be honest. That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money that you
have to have a reputation with it, but he's shown a reputation.
I mean, yes and no. Yes and no. He's shown potential. He hasn't won the Bundesliga, has he?
He's in second right now, but no.
Yeah, hasn't won the Bundesliga. He hasn't won the Champions League. He hasn't won the Europa League.
But so you're going to define – okay, but he's been with RB Leipzig for how long?
My point is the reason why Jose got so much money is because of his resume.
That's fair.
And while it's like Nagelsmann is one of those guys, he's got a smaller resume, but he's like, wow, this is really impressive what you've done in this short amount of time, type of thing. You are very impressive. You have a lot of potential, right? That's why you're not going to pay him 15 mil. Ancelotti doesn't get 15 mil.
No. Okay, yeah, you make a good point.
But I'm not saying that.
So maybe it's a safer bet to put in like the 8.5 million range.
But I don't think first of all, we have no idea what the money talks are going to be for this. No. And second of all,
I'm just going off what it says on Google.
Second of all, I don't think Nagelsmann would be demanding 15 mil. And if he is, maybe that's not the guy, because we don't want that. We want a guy who wants to challenge. We want a guy who wants to be there for Tottenham Hotspur type of thing.
Another thing too is like you said, it's more about it's not about the money. He's going into potentially a club with the best stadium, a good setup of players who he can now work with, sell, buy, offload, whatever he wants to do, which obviously could raise more, income for him. Not income, but more money. Okay, yeah. Okay, this is insane.
All right.
Zidane makes 14 million.
Yeah, you're telling me Nagelsmann's going to come in and get paid more than Zidane?
Guess how much Diego Simone makes, or whatever his name is.
How much?
37 million.
A year?
Annual salary, 37 million.
That's crazy. All right. Away from all that, this has been a great episode, I think. I think we're good to wrap it up. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. Sorry, we're getting off topic now.
You're good, but
this is interesting, though. This is really interesting topic because we don't know. No one knows how much, how to pay for a manager, We don't know. When Jose got that, $15 million, salary, to us, that's like, oh my God, that's a lot. But okay, well, put in there why he's getting it. So
yeah,
it's definitely going to be interesting to see.
At the end of the day, we need a manager who, A, wants to challenge, B, cares about the club, cares about what Tottenham represents, and C, has the ambition to play brave football, Tottenham Hotspur football, attacking-minded football, and, can work well with youth. I think those are our prerequisites, if you might. And I think Nagelsmann fits that. But the matter is, does he want the challenge? Is he up for the challenge? Because it's not going to it's not going to be easy, Matt. We are on the pinnacle of, we're at a tipping point, I think, for Tottenham right now. It depends how the rest of the season goes. If we get top 4, maybe that job becomes a little more appealing because you get to work with Champions League. If we get Europa League, that's still a little bit appealing. But if we don't get Europe, that's maybe a much more tough sell for a guy like Nagelsmann. Where you got to work in a whole year.
Absolutely, absolutely.
There's a lot riding on this last 5 games of the season, but great episode. Honestly, I think this is a great episode. Let us know what you guys think of this weekly deal where we kind of talk about all things Tottenham Hotspur for this week. That includes games, but that also includes maybe any big news, like if someone decides to make a Super League 2 all of a sudden. Let's hope that doesn't happen, but just in case, we'll be there for it. So thank you for listening, guys. Be on the lookout too. We are in the works of restructuring a logo, so we're gonna put it out there for you guys to kind of vote on what you guys think might be cool or something, or just announce it once we have it for you. So thank you for listening, and as always, be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at _Tottenham_talk. And as always, come on, you Spurs.